This is a space for driven entrepreneurs, leaders, and high achievers who are ready to stop performing and start living.
It's not finding yourself, it's coming back to yourself. I've built a total life that looks perfectly on paper and felt totally empty inside. So we
Yes.
don't need certainty, we don't need confidence, we need courage. If you say yes when you want to say no, you've sold yourself.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Redesign Your Life Today, the podcast where transformation becomes tangible, where we move beyond external success and into true alignment, purpose, and inner peace. This is a space for driven entrepreneurs, leaders, and high achievers who are ready to stop performing and start living. So today I've got the really privilege and honor to have a very special guest with us. Uh, and this is Adele Kamel Whitley, who had a lot of transformations in her life. And so Adele is a transformational life coach and the founder of the By Yourself movement. It's a philosophy that challenges high achievers to stop living by default and start living by design. With over 23 years in sales and marketing and more than 15 years coaching CEOs, entrepreneurs, and business leaders around the world, Adele brings a rare combination of deep insight, grounded wisdom, and what I would call compassionate truth telling. Her work is for those who, from the outside, seem to have it all, but inside feel disconnected, unfulfilled, or stuck in patterns they can't break. Adele is known for her direct, intentionally provocative approach, often creating profound shifts in just one honest conversation. She helps clients reconnect with what is true, release what no longer serves them, and reclaim ownership of their energy, direction, relationships, and life. And this is going to be a real, raw, and deeply meaningful conversation. So, Adele, again, a very warm welcome to this show. This was an introduction, but would like to know a little more about you. Who is Adele, and what brings you to do what you do today?
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for that introduction and for the work that you're doing in the world. Like we said in the beginning, me and you clicked from day one, and I know more and more every time I meet you why. So to the answer of answer the question, who is Adele?
Mhm,
I would say she's an ever evolving human being and soul,
mhm,
and that's by conscious choice. But if I tell you from what I would answer is I'm born in Lebanon, uh,
mhm,
the oldest of five sisters, and I always say I've on and off conformed my whole life, and with that, that's how By Yourself started. What I mean with that is coming from a Lebanese family, doing things the right way is super important.
mhm,
While I always knew that I had another way inside of me, and I didn't want to do things the way it should be. So, and that has always been inside of me, but I did for a long period of my time of my life, quote unquote, sell myself for external validation, for conditioning, for societal expectations, for peer expectations, for parents' wish and desires. And that is literally how the whole By Yourself movement started. Because when I realized that there is another way to live life, there is a way to live life where you don't have to buy in to all these expectations, conditioning, all the pre-set rules from society. Now
mhm.
you can actually start to live a life that feels true to yourself, aka a life that feels good and don't only look good. And that is, in an essence, how I've lived my life. I've built a total life that looks perfectly on paper and felt totally empty inside. And then
Mhm.
I started to redo that journey to come back to me and what I say in my work, buy myself back. So I mean that's a long answer to who is Adele, but it's easy to come into the work because it's so me. Like I am the mission of Buy Yourself.
Wow. I said, this is absolutely beautiful. And as you know, Adele, I resonate a lot with, who you are. And what comes up, the word which comes up for me is authenticity.
Mm.
How important is it to become or become again the person we are deeply inside ourselves.
Mm, exactly. And you said it. It's to unlearn everything that we had to learn. So it's not finding yourself, it's coming back to yourself. And to your point, like we are, when we grow up, we are pushed into society with those preset of rules and presets of way of being, which most of the time, most of people don't even question. So one of my thing is question everything. Question everything and then choose what you want to bring with you in your life. Because as you know, Daniel, everything, like every little thing in our life is built up by a set of beliefs and stories. None
Mm-hmm.
of them is true. Like literally none of them is true in the court of law. What most people don't get is that we can actually choose those beliefs and stories so that they match with the reality that we want and we want to have in the future as well.
Yeah, well, so powerful. And Adele, we hear that we are very conditioned by the first 7 years in our lives,
Yeah,
that everything comes without filter, and that we repeat these beliefs or these perhaps emotions we felt. Can you tell
sure.
us a little more about that and how it impacts our lives and how we can change that?
Yeah. And so that's also why I say to my clients, like, this is not your fault that you are from the day we're born till, like you say, the age of 7, 10, 12. We're like a sponge. We
Yes.
absorb everything. We absorb the way our parents react to certain things. We absorb the way they talk, the way they speak, the way they push their beliefs on you through no fault of their own. Probably they don't know better that what they're doing is to program something in you.
Hmm.
So of course, this now becomes the blueprint of how we live our lives and how we view the world. And if no one stops to help you, like we do, we coach people to help you see those blind spots, those unconscious beliefs. If no one stops to help you to reflect that back at you and say, wait a minute, by the sounds of it, you believe the world is like this. But if
Hmm.
the world is like this, you will never be able to reach your goal because you'll have to shift your belief. But people hold on to their beliefs like it's the absolute truth because it's part of their identity, it's part of who they are. And it's so easy to think that what you've done, how you've done it, like you know how most people say, this is just who I am. It's really easy to believe that that is just who you are. And that's a fixed identity that you cannot change. And because of that, you also cannot have something different moving forward. So now we call it faith. Now we call this is just who I am. This is my genes. This is my beliefs. This is my parents. This is my upbringing. And because of my past, this is how my future will look like. And of course, both me and you know that that's wrong, but this is what holds a lot of people back.
Yeah. You see, I mean, again, as a mental fitness coach, I so much resonate with this because basically, you know, I'm helping people understand what are the saboteurs,
Yes.
which are basically these are programs running on autopilot in their lives, which they acquired as very young children or toddlers as protection mechanism, like for instance, being judging ourselves, judging others, being a perfectionist, being a
Mm.
controller, being a people pleaser, being a victim. So how does this all resonate with you, Adele?
I mean, you said it, Daniel. It's serving something good, right? It's a
Hmm.
protection mechanism. And for most people, we start to hate those parts of us. And because they are standing in the way of letting us become what we want to be. So if someone knows that they're a people pleaser or they have people pleasing tendencies, now they start to not like that part of themselves, which is
Hmm.
going to make it worse, right? Because at the end of the day, this people pleasing tendencies is a reaction to something that happened back then that
Hmm.
makes you act in a certain ways to maybe earn love, validation, belonging, feel that you're good enough, feel that you're safe and part of something more than yourself, like back in the days when we had to be belonging to a tribe. So if we can just send a lot of love, compassion to that part and
Hmm.
tell them, as we do in our work, like it's okay. Like you don't need to people please anymore to be liked. You can actually be your authentic self, AKA by yourself. And there will be people that will still like you. You're not going to get kicked out of the tribe. But it's hard because that comes with a lot of discomfort. It also comes with a lot of courage because once you stopped being the person that other people wants and needs you to be, now who are you?
Hmm.
Right? Now people's going to question. They're going to tell you changed. They're going to say, well, I expect Adele to be in a certain way. Why is she not anymore? And that is very, very uncomfortable sometimes.
Absolutely. And you see, as you said, Adele, I mean, we believe that this is how we are. I mean, I used to be a perfectionist, right? And I thought, oh, I've got to do this to the highest level. But afterwards, and I thought it was a good thing.
Right.
But I realized perhaps I thought that love, unconsciously, that love was
Mm,
conditional of how good I performed, perhaps with my parents. And when I realized that, this, you can change it. I mean, it's like, the perfection doesn't exist. That for me, the shift was take action,
mm.
get get more, really get certainty and follow your instinct, follow your dreams. And when you do that, this is really how things change. And how this is really how we make our life much calmer, much easier, where we live from a place of abundance instead of a place of lack.
Yeah, exactly. Because otherwise we'll be in this constant chasing of, like you, in your case, perfectionist.
Yeah.
But a perfectionist will never reach a state of perfect, which means you'll never get there and you will always be chasing. And you'll end up missing the whole point of life, which is living in the now where you are.
So at this point, actually, Adele, I'd like you to elaborate on this because, imagine people come and see you, and obviously you work with high achieving entrepreneurs, business owners, and from the outside, they've got everything, but inside they feel drained. So what's like the first conversation with your clients? How do you make them aware of perhaps things they've not even never thought about?
Yeah, that's a good question. Most of the time I listen to their words and how they speak
Hmm.
because in the beginning I always let them do most of the talking because by the way they are talking, I can start to understand how they view the world. And they also let me know which are their absolute truths. And it's really funny because then I start questioning these. And one of them in the high achiever world is what we talked about with you is the perfectionism, or this once I get there, then I will be happy, or I will be slowing down, or I will be XYZ, you name it. While I always ask them, how do you know when you get there?
Hmm.
And most people don't have an answer to that question because it's not about getting there. It's about the feeling that they think that they will have when they get there. But we've all been sold a lie. There is no feeling by the end of, I don't know, closing a big deal. It's a fast dopamine, but it's going to be the same thing again. You're going to feel empty again because you're chasing something you cannot achieve. If you always feel that you're not enough, doesn't matter how many deals you're going to close. You will still never feel enough when you close a deal. That needs to come from within, right?
Abs
So, yeah.
Absolutely. And actually, so what's the power of enjoying the journey rather than chasing the goal?
The power is that you have literally, I don't like the word control, but you have control of your day to day life.
Hmm.
If you enjoy every single day and choose to show up for the work that you want to do from a day to day basis, then it doesn't really matter if you reach the goal or not, because the whole point was that let's say the goal is on the end of 3 years. Yeah, that's 3 years time 365. I don't know, 1,000 days. So what is the point of hating 1,000 days to maybe, just maybe, enjoy one day in the end of it? I mean,
Hmm.
that's a failed life. So I always take it backward. I say, let me know what is your ideal way of living. How would you love to enjoy every single day? What is the work that's meaningful to you? Let's implement that on a day to day basis. Enjoy every single day of the journey and who you become on the journey. And
Hmm.
then maybe, just maybe, you'll reach that goal. Probably you will if you start implementing the things. But the win is not in winning the goal. The win is you have enjoyed all those 1,000 days.
Absolutely. Exactly. And as you said as well, we cannot control the outcome, can we? So we can only control ourselves and what we do, the actions we take now. And you see, I really love the name of your movement, By Yourself. And I mean, it's so powerful. So can you explain our viewers what does it really mean and how can someone begin doing that today, buying themselves?
Yeah. I love it too, Daniel. And I must say, I didn't sit there and like try to come up with an idea. It literally came to me in a walk, which is why I also encourage all my clients to spend a lot of time in nature and without technology and all that. But that's not to the point. The whole point is that in anything we do in life,
Mhm,
the first sale we do is always the one from you to you.
mhm,
If you have not sold yourself to yourself, meaning if you have not convinced yourself that the job that you're working on is for you, or who you are is who you want to be, or the choices you're doing in your life are your choices. If those are not, and there's more to it, if those are not your choices, if you have not sold those things to you, then you failed. Then you literally have sold yourself to someone else's idea, someone else's vision, someone else's life, someone else's idea of who you should be in their matrix of life. So the first sale is always from you to you. Now, is it easy? It's not, because we've been conditioned to make sure everyone else around us is good. If we say no, then we're a bad person. One of the main core things in By Yourself is, when do you say yes when you really want to say no?
Mm-hmm.
That's a one-to-one selling yourself. If you say yes when you want to say no, you've sold yourself.
Yeah,
If you stay
absolutely.
quiet when you want to speak up, you've sold yourself. If you change your opinion based on who's in front of you, you've sold yourself. All of those things is how we slowly start to abandon who we really are in the pursuit of having some external validation, or being liked, or feeling belonging, or feeling like I'm enough.
Exactly. Yeah. This is so powerful. And as you said, if we are people pleasers, saying yes to others means saying no to ourselves, saying letting people go over our boundaries, even sometimes trembling over us.
Yeah.
And then we know that and we hate ourselves for that because we let, it's not that people do it and there's nothing we can do, but we let them do that. So how important is it to really take your power back and really to set boundaries?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we teach people how to treat us.
Yeah.
That's, yeah, but we were never taught to do that.
Mm,
We were taught to be the good girl or the good boy and make sure that everyone around us is good. And that's codependency. So if I know that you're good, Daniel, now I'm good. Even if that means abandoning myself. And it's wrong. Because you will build up slowly resentment inside of you. You will slowly lose your energy. You will slowly lose yourself, which is why your life feels empty, because you're living for everyone else but yourself.
absolutely, absolutely. And when uh, when someone basically has doubts, right? And you speak to them and or you listen to them, they've got a lot of abilities, but they have doubts. Oh, can I do this? Oh, am I good enough? Some people have an imposter syndrome. Actually, most of us do at the stage or another, and perhaps
Yeah.
it's a constant. How can you help people getting more certainty? Really, just like knowing that everything's possible, every change is possible in life.
Yeah. It's a good question, because sometimes people want certainty as a result before doing anything.
Mhm.
Well, I always say, once you start move, once you start to take a small step, it's like certainty will follow, confidence will follow. So we
Yes.
don't need certainty, we don't need confidence, we need courage. Once we have the courage to take one small step and get a little bit of tiny result, now we get a little bit more confidence. And now we can move one more step forward, and then one more step forward. But to your point, most people say, no, I need to be certain first. I need to be confident first. And that will never happen. How are you going to build confidence? Because confidence literally means your ability to do something. How can you build it if you don't do it?
Exactly. You see, it's exactly, when I was thinking about perfectionism, this was exactly that. And when you take action, and now my rule, if I can help people, is like, if you've got like 80%, right? 80% of the information, just go. And I mean, it's a rule of thumb, of course, but just go, try, and you will see that whenever you do things from alignment with yourself, from really, is it something you want? Is it a dream? Don't let others discourage you. Just go there because your intuition never fails you.
Yeah, that's so true. That is when you tap into the life force that is there when you don't block it. And add to your point, showing up from that gut feeling, from that life force, from that energy of this is what I'm here to do, like you're unstoppable. But we are blocking that energy in the pursuit of external things, right? So that's why I always want people to come back to themselves, sit with themselves, no technology, journal, talk to themselves, go for a walk.
Mhm.
One of my main, and probably we'll talk about that, main tips is sit with yourself, get to know
Yeah,
yourself.
well, exactly. And actually, if you can give us, I mean, some tips, but it's about, for instance, daily routines. People say, oh, what's important? And of course, I know everybody's different, but perhaps you can talk about yourself, Adele. In terms of in the morning, what would you do? How can you kind of get yourself grounded and be fully in the present moment?
Yeah. So I think that some people think that you need to have one perfect morning routine. You have to do it every day. I don't think that that is necessary because I don't like rules, labels, and anything that you put me in a box.
Sure.
So what I do have is a non-negotiable to spend time with myself.
Mhm.
Whether that is meditation, whether that is reading, whether that is journaling, whether that is just sitting in solitude. But I do not touch my phone the first hour after I wake up. And the only reason is because I want to take care of myself before I let the world into my world and start getting other people's agenda into my world, which easily happens once you put your phone on. Someone texted you, an email come in, the news. I'm in the stock market, so you see a stock. All those things happens, and all of a sudden you put yourself aside to cater to the world. But we can control that by letting the world wait for a little while and
Mhm.
just look at, like, every morning, ask yourself, what do I need right now to connect with myself and to prepare myself so that I can go into the world with intention and the energy that I want to provide and bring to the world. Now, for me, that's power.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's really about taking time with ourselves, being very intentional, and because we know that actually the outside world is just a reflection of who we are internally, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
and I've got this other
And
question.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, you
No,
were
no,
saying.
just to answer that, exactly. So that's why when you take this pause, instead of being in reactive mode to the world, you can just be very grounded and intentional to your response. Because if we don't have these little pauses where we just come back to ourselves, it's so easy to react to everything that happens. And when we react, we barely react from the person we want to be. We just react from conditioning or from what we're taught, right? And that's easily happen.
Yes, absolutely. And Adele, something which has been very important for me. The four agreements.
Of
This
course.
and
Yes.
of course, yeah. But you see, this one which says, "Don't take things personally."
Mm,
This changed my life when I
mm.
really applied that.
Tell
And
me.
in terms of really, when you understand that whatever people say to you, whatever people even do to you, it's got nothing to do with you. It's only them reflecting their childhood trauma, their
Mm,
insecurities, their doubts, their fears. And when we realize that, we're not going to change them, and they're going to behave the same. But what we make of that, this is different.
mm.
How does this resonate with you, Adele?
I fully agree with you. It's spot on. I would add that if it does resonate with you, if whatever someone says hits you, then the work is within you. Because no one can ever make you believe anything that you don't already believe inside of yourself. So if it triggers you, instead of getting mad, upset, or sad, see it as an opportunity to go, okay, why did that trigger me? Because at the end, like you said, Daniel, we can take it even one step further. What someone says is literally words. It's hot air. It's empty. It doesn't mean anything unless we make it mean something. It is just blah 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 until we translate it to what we ever want, whatever we want to translate it to, which is based on whatever we feel inside and what we think about ourselves.
You see, you expressed it absolutely beautifully. And of course, I resonate 100%. And you see, I learned this tip not long ago which really, it's simple, but whenever somebody triggers me, and of course, it means, yeah, the word which comes to mind, the first to this person is thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for reminding me that there is something with me which is not healed, the wound, and that I need to look inside. And when we do, because obviously the same words can be said to somebody else who are not going to react. So it means it comes from an emotion, and very often an emotion coming very early in our lives. So when we do that, when we take this step back, when we take a pause, all of a sudden our life becomes much easier.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And I don't know if you read the book The Untethered Soul with Michael Singer, but he puts it so good in how to just detach yourself from everything that happened, let go and relax, and just watch it as an observer. And once we can do that, once we can just observe everything that happens, not as us, but as something we're looking at, like from a TV screen, nothing will phase you. But we're so caught up in the day-to-day drama, in the autopilot of our lives, in the non-pauses, that we can't even take a step back because we don't have time. We think we don't have time, but actually that's the thing that you only need to take time for.
Absolutely. And again, you see, this is really beautiful. And you see, one tool, perhaps I don't know if it's the right word I'm using, if somebody is really into some really deep emotions and was not sure what to do, and I'm asking them, imagine it's not you, but it's your best friend. What would you tell your
Yeah.
friend? All of a sudden, it's like, oh, okay, I will tell her or him to do this and that, or just you see, as you said, when we are the observers, this is so powerful. So, see, this is like one tip now. And I mean, this conversation has been wonderful, and we'll have others, Adele, but obviously we are limited there. And if we could leave our viewers with like 3 tips they can take today, just steps or whatever it is, to really kind of start changing their lives and really going where they are meant to be.
Yeah. I love that. I have so many, but one we've already mentioned, which is I think the main one, sit and spend time with yourself.
Mhm.
And the way I can explain it is, how do you get to know a person? How will I get to know you, Daniel? The more I spend time with you, present time with you, the more I know you. The deeper we go, the more I know you. And then I ask my clients, and one of the first thing I ask them is, how much time do you spend with yourself?
Mhm.
Without a phone, without TV, without meditation, without music, without any other external noise? Most people say never. Most people say, what do you even mean, Adele? So one of my main tips is spend time with yourself. Get to know yourself. Not 10 years ago, today,
Mhm.
right? So because when you sit with yourself, when you allow yourself to sit with yourself, you will start answer some, you'll ask questions in your head, you will answer them for yourself, because you also you are the only one that knows how to answer your own questions if you allow yourself to sit without the noise and get to know yourself. Because
Mhm.
once you get to know yourself, you also start to get to know what you want without anyone else having influence, which will come to tip number 2. Because once you know what you want, now my second tip, which I tell everyone, is to put yourself in an environment which will make that person and that version of you grow.
Mhm.
Because the people, the environment, whatever you spend your time, focus, and energy is what's gonna shape who you are, what you do, and what you become in the future. So the fastest way to change your life is know what you want, of course, but then put yourself in an environment that actually allows that to happen, with like-minded people, with people that pulls you up, with people that challenges you, with people that maybe done the same. Sometimes we think impossible stuff are impossible just because we have the wrong people around us. And
Mhm.
then you put yourself in another environment, then whatever you thought was impossible is the minimum limit of what they ever done ever in their lives. So that is another tip. More tips. Yeah, gratitude. I think once you tap into gratitude, once you look at every single thing you have right now in your life, I always ask them, if I would tell you, if I would tell you that whatever you're not grateful for today, you will not have tomorrow, what would you start counting to me and telling me that you're grateful for?
Mhm.
And in the beginning, people don't understand. They mean, okay, I would keep my husband, I'd keep my kids, I maybe keep my bank account, I'd keep my job. But then I asked them, what about your ability to see? What about your ability to speak? What
Mhm.
about your ability to move your body? Oh,
Mhm.
all of a sudden we have so much things to be grateful for.
Absolutely.
And once you're grateful, nothing else, like lack cannot exist. Because when you're grateful for what you already have, you're also telling the universe, I'm ready to receive more. So that would be my 3 tips. I can go so much deeper into that because it's literally the practice I go to most when I feel lack is like, oh my God, just look around. You've once dreamt about the life you have today. How dare you not be grateful?
You see, and again, you see, this is this resonates so much with me. What like you're saying about obviously spend time with yourself, really just go deep and yeah, when we do this, things change, and it's about as well becoming more vulnerable as well, which helps. And then obviously you mentioned about the environment, and sometimes we need really to change it if we are, because people said we are the sum of like the 5 people we spend the most time with. So, and because when we evolve in life, things, sometimes some people don't are not more good in our lives. And again, it's nothing to do with them. They haven't changed. It's just that we evolve. We need this. And
That's
and
okay.
Yeah, and gratitude again, for me, it's like the number one. You see, it's number one. It's gratitude, being grateful. I mean, it's beautiful outside. I had a walk this morning, just there. This is and it's for people around us. It's for, of course, what we have, but it's even things for what we don't have, what we would like to have. Just be grateful now. Okay, this is going to happen. It's about, you know, seeing ourselves where we want to be. And then when we are that, all of a sudden, and as you said so nicely, when you are grateful, you cannot be angry, you cannot be upset at the same time. It's just
Oh,
how you enjoy life. So
yeah.
with that, Adele, this has been an absolutely beautiful conversation, which I expected, I have to say. And really what I love about your work is that it doesn't offer more strategies. It really invites people back to themselves, to truth, to ownership, to alignment. And if anybody is listening, right now, business owners, entrepreneurs, and I'm sure a lot of them will want to be in touch with you. What's the best way to connect with you, Adele?
So I'm every day on LinkedIn. I write a lot about my work on LinkedIn. So it will be Adele Kamel Whitley on LinkedIn, on Instagram as well. You can and write to me. I'm not a stranger. I'll answer all the DMs. So I'm happy to do that. Or adelekamelwhitley.com, which is my website. But on all platforms, LinkedIn and Instagram, I'll answer privately to anyone that reaches out.
And so thank you so much, Adele. And you see, your authenticity so much transpires. I mean, this is absolutely beautiful, and this is rare. This is rare. So, uh, my ask for all our viewers here, if you like this podcast, if it resonates, even if you got one little tip, please share it. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with people who will benefit, because sharing is caring, is loving, it's giving. And the more you share in life, the more life is going to bring you beautiful things. So thank you again, Adele. Thank you to everyone, and see you all at the next episode. Bye bye.
Bye.